Konbanwa, Pat Tokuyama here, creator of All Day I Eat Like a Shark and the new Japanese cooking club. If this is your first time here, let us know where you are watching from. Say hello in the comments. Give me a thumbs up or a heart if you can hear me just fine. What we're going to be doing today is continuing day 2 of live plant-based Japanese cooking as part of a 4-day challenge. Slurring my words there a little bit. Yesterday, if you missed yesterday, just a quick recap of what we did yesterday. What did we do yesterday? We made hambagu. Actually, we had leftover hambagu with some potatoes and some caramelized onions and some squash. And then we did make miso shiru, miso soup, with some fu, mushroom-shaped fu. And fu is the gluten, refined gluten. And we also did some dengaku, miso dengaku, which is a savory, sweet miso paste. And also, we did that 2 ways. So we made a white miso dengaku with broiled tofu pieces and some eggplant. So that was a recap of yesterday. Let me know if you guys think you'll be trying that, if you've made any of those dishes before. And today, I gave you a couple hints on what we're going to be doing. As usual, I've got all of my ingredients here, ready to go. Let me go ahead and change up the camera so you guys can get a close-up. Alright, so you guys should be able to see my counter just now. And here, this is a box of hoshi yuba. This is from Kyoto. I got this on my last trip to Japan. And there's several different types here. There's maki yuba. This is like the rolled. You can use this to roll and stuff it with stuff. Like moyashi is one of my favorite ways to stuff yuba. This is just the flat strips of yuba. So these are like sheets, I guess. And then we're actually going to be using these, which is thin strips of yuba. So I've already rehydrated these because this has all been dried. And the stuff is delicious, by the way, if you've never had yuba before. It's a delicacy, in my opinion, at least because it takes so much time to make at home. If you've ever made yuba from soy milk, which is what that is, so yuba is tofu skin, and it takes a long time. So usually I'll spend an hour or 2 making homemade yuba, but the texture and the flavor is pretty incomparable to anything else. So there's nothing like it. And if you're wondering what this is a little salad here that I have. This is going to be my vegetable for today. It's just some mixed greens with some quinoa and shio dressing. So the dressing is something that's pretty simple. It only has shio. It has some vinegar, rice vinegar, and it has white pepper, some lemon juice, and some extra virgin olive oil. And I think that's all I put in this time. So if you've never used shio before, highly recommend that you do some research and seek it out. It's available on Amazon, and there's plenty of things that you can do with it, both savory and sweet. So that's my little PSA for shio, and it's actually the theme of the Japanese Cooking Club for July. And I guess now that we're done with that, we can go ahead and get started with our core lesson today. So we're going to be doing everything step by step. I have some ingredients ready to go. So this is the hoshi yuba, which I have reconstituted in dashi stock. You can use whatever kind of dashi you have. Today we did a mixture of konbu and shiitake dashi. And I have some here. This is really hot. We're going to be using this for the ankake. So we're going to be doing an ankake donburi. This is about 2 cups worth. And I guess I gave it away already what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be doing a yuba ankake donburi. And we're going to be using some baby mizuna greens, which is what I have right here, and some aka shiso and green shiso, ao shiso. So this is about, I think, 4 or 5 large pieces of each type. And we're just going to cut this into little strips. And this is going to be a summer variation of ankake. Ankake is one of my favorite ways to eat vegetables, and also tofu and yuba, like we're doing today. You can also use it for fish and meat if you prefer, but we're trying to be plant-based, and so that's why there's not going to be any meat in these products, or in this dish. So looks like I see Paula. I think this is the first time I've seen you, so welcome to the show. Good to have you. Let us know where you're watching from, and whoever else has just joined. Let us know where you're watching from. All right, so step 1 would have been to make the dashi, which we already did. Step 2 would have been to rehydrate the dried hoshi yuba, and we've already done that. So step 3 is to make the ankake sauce, and that's what we're going to do now. So in order to make an ankake is an is the sauce, and ankake means to pour over or put over, and that's what we're going to be doing with cornstarch. We have 2 tablespoons of mirin, and we have 2 tablespoons of usukuchi shoyu. Usukuchi shoyu is light soy sauce, which is different from low sodium soy sauce, so keep that in mind. And we change this back. So now that we're done with all this stuff on the counter, this is about 1.5 tablespoons of potato starch dissolved in about 2 tablespoons of water, and that's just to reconstitute it so that when we pour it to the hot dashi, it'll be easily dissolved and it won't clump. So key point there. And I also have some wasabi, which we're going to be using for additional heat, and some white pepper. And it looks like I see Elisa. Looks like you're new too. Good to see you. Paula's from Florida, and Elisa's from Washington. All over the US. Good to have you guys. All right, so I'm turning up the heat here. I think it's just about boiling. This is still hot. And I think that was what, step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4 is going to be to make your rice. So I have some zakkokumai, which is the multi-grain rice. If you've ever seen it before, I'll show you what it looks like. And we're actually doing it with brown rice today. I often do it with white rice, but today we're doing it with brown rice because brown rice is healthier because it's whole grain, has more nutrients, protein, and fiber. So that's why that rice is discolored, in case you're wondering. It's actually a light purple, off-white/purple color. And now this is really hot, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cook the potato starch in the dashi, and that'll thicken it up right away, because once you activate, or the way that you activate cornstarch or potato starch is by heating it up to a certain temperature. So if you've had issues where your cornstarch didn't thicken up right away, then it could have been that you didn't heat it hot enough. So I'm going to go ahead and add this in here. Actually, we're going to add both of these in, but the mirin, one key point on the mirin, if you've never used it before, is that it contains alcohol, and so we're going to go ahead and microwave it off. So that's going to become no longer mirin. It's going to be called nikita mirin, which means to have simmered off, or simmered cut is the literal translation. And we're going to do that for about 30 seconds until the alcohol smell's gone. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and drop in the shoyu, the soy sauce, the usukuchi shoyu. And then as soon as that is done, we're going to drop that in there and then thicken it all up with the potato starch. And then you'll notice right away, it'll be more of a liquidy to more of a thick gel, almost like gravy-like texture. And that's what we're going for when we make ankake, or ansauce. So let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. We're almost done. It's a really quick recipe. So if you feel like you're always in a time crunch for cooking, you don't really have an excuse, because this really doesn't take that much time. And if you can't find yuba for whatever reason, then just go ahead and use tofu. You can use aburaage, which is deep fried tofu skins, or you can use thin strips of regular tofu. And either way, it will be just as tasty. The only difference is going to be the texture, because yuba is tofu skin. So I can show you this already really thickened up. Change the camera view. Looks like I see Sharon. Good to have you, Sharon. So here's the close-up again. You can see it's really thick now, which is exactly what we want. Nice and thick, and it smells super earthy because of the shiitake. And at that point, what we're going to do is chop up the shiso. Shiso discolors really quickly, so you don't want to chop it until you are ready to use it. So that's why I left it whole. And these are the baby mizunai greens. We're going to go ahead and drop this in there and just soften it up. So I think that's step 5 or 6. I lost count. It looks like I see Ernie. Good to see you. She is from the DMV. Is that Department of Motor and Vehicles? Of DCMD/VA. I guess that's a lot of different places that you're from. So what I'm doing is I'm just chopping the shiso into very thin strips so that it's similar in size to the mizuna, because we want everything to look presentable. And these are pretty fat leaves. I grew these in my garage hydroponically. So if you can't find shiso, your next best bet is to grow it at home like me. Even though I can find shiso, it's much better when it's fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here. And we're just going to mix it all together. And it's going to be super aromatic. If you've ever had shiso, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, it's kind of like basil, but it's a little bit more delicate, a little bit more, I don't know how you'd say it. You could say floral, but I would go with aromatic. And I don't think I've ever met anybody that doesn't like shiso. If you have, I guess I'd be surprised, but I know some people don't like cilantro, so could be a similar thing. All right, so all of our work is just about done. All we need to do now is put the rice into our bowl. So we're gonna make the donburi now. Donburi is a rice bowl. That's what we're making. And I already have my rice here, so we're gonna go ahead and serve this. So Paula is asking, where do you think would be the best place to get the products that you're using? Because I don't see them in my local grocery store, and I was thinking maybe Whole Foods. I know Whole Foods does carry yuba. I think it depends on the location. I think in San Francisco I've seen yuba, it's by Hodo Foods. Alternatively, you might be able to find it on Amazon. I have seen yuba on Amazon, so that would be one place I would check out. But that's really the only, I guess, the hardest to find ingredient, if there is one. Alternatively, like I said, you could just use tofu, or you can use the aburage, which is the fried tofu skins. And then today I was going to change things up and throw in some white pepper for additional flavor. I enjoy white pepper, so I don't know about you guys, but if you enjoy it, I would recommend that you try it out with this. And the last thing, the very last thing, I guess, before we add in the ankake to the rice, is we're going to mix in the strips of yuba. So I'll show you what these look like. They're very, I don't know how you describe it. It's very thin and it's very soft, slightly chewy because it's dried. If you have fresh yuba, it's not going to be chewy. I'm just going to add this in here. It's a very good source of protein. And the good thing about it is that it really absorbs whatever flavor of the broth that you're cooking it in. So since we just cooked it in dashi, it'll sort of taste like dashi. So let me show you a close-up again of what this looks like with the yuba mixed in, and then we'll be just about done. So if you have any questions, hit me up and put them in the comments below. So that's how it looks. Go ahead and pour it on here. One of my other favorite ankake, actually put it up closer to the camera so you guys can see. One of my other favorite ankake recipes is with vegetables, and then I think my Japanese cooking club members know that one. And then also the kinoko ankake tofu, which is one of the recipes in my tofu book, Tofu Ryori. So you can see that's a really good amount of yuba right there. Oh man, it's gonna be so bomb. Good thing about shiso is that it has like a cooling effect. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like mint. If you've ever felt like a cooling sensation from the menthol and the mint, like eucalyptus, shiso has that. It's very subtle though. All right, guys. So it looks like Ernie and Matthew know each other. How do you guys know each other? Anyways, what we're gonna do is just top it off with a little bit of white pepper, just a little bit, and some wasabi. If you can get the real stuff, even better, but have to settle for this in the tube. And that's it. This is going to be my dinner. Some quinoa salad with shio-koju dressing and yuba ankake donburi. So if you guys have any questions, I'll save a few minutes for you guys to ask. And just to recap, what we did today was we used hoshi yuba, dried yuba, tofu skin. which is what I have here. And then we created our dashi-based an sauce, ankake. This is an ankake donburi. And basically, you can use any ingredient, any seasonal ingredient. It doesn't have to be yuba. You can use vegetables, as I mentioned. One of my favorite variations is with a bunch of peppers, some mushrooms, and some, I think that was it. Yeah, renkon. You can do renkon. You can also do shiitake mushrooms. And it's very tasty because the dashi provides all of the umami. The shoyu, the soy sauce, is the base, and the mirin helps to take everything to the next level because that is also filled with plenty of umami. Oh, so Ernie says you don't know each other, but there are manzanas in my family. Matthew, your family is all over the world. Did you know that? Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you think you'll be trying this recipe? This is very simple. Only requires a few ingredients and it doesn't take very long. All you need is a little bit of rice and you have a very simple and tasty, healthy Japanese meal perfect for a weeknight like today. So if you want to learn more about plant-based Japanese cooking and you haven't already, make sure to visit JapaneseCookingClub.com, just like my shirt here, to get on the wait list to see when that club is going to reopen. And you'll be able to get this recipe as well as yesterday's recipe, and then tomorrow and the day after as well. And that's going to be it for our 4-day cooking challenge. And then I guess before we wrap up, tomorrow I'm going to be having a special guest, Deborah Samuels. I don't know if you caught that yesterday. I think I mentioned it yesterday. She's a Japanese cookbook author, and tomorrow we're going to be making something special with rice and more shiso. So stay tuned for that. Same time tomorrow, 6 o'clock. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below in the chat or comment box. If you're watching the replay, it's all good. And I'll get back to you. So that's going to be it for today. If I don't see any questions, I'll give you guys another minute. Should close my rice machine so it doesn't dry out. Also want to keep my an sauce covered so that doesn't dry out either. All right, guys, so that's it. I don't see any questions coming through, so have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again for watching, and yep, jane, bye-bye. That is how you say goodbye in Japanese, in case you're wondering. Jane, bye-bye.